He is a veteran, he's a business owner, he's a graduate from the Indiana University School of Law, and a dedicated family man. But right now, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you our Rusk College commencement speaker for 2021, Attorney Henry Reaves III.
Thank you so much.
Check.
Thank you so much. First, I want to make sure I give honor to Jesus Christ, my personal Savior, who I owe everything to. And I want to thank him for his grace. So y'all don't go to judge me. I ain't no preacher, I'm a lawyer now. So don't hold me to no high standard. I'm saying I recognize, but I need grace. I want to say thank you to Dr. Ivy Taylor, Dr. Edwards, as well as the Commencement Committee. It is quite a tremendous honor to have the opportunity to talk to this wonderful class. I take this very seriously, and for the last few months since I got this great honor, it's been the most important thing. It's been the most important thing that I've had on my plate. Now, in my bio and in the story, it talks about it talks a lot about my law firm and the business and stuff like that. And in here, it erroneously says that I am from Memphis. Now, I'm born in Memphis, and I got family, in Memphis, and I would go back and forth to Memphis. I got family in Orange Mound and Boxtown, and that is my city. But Mississippi is my state. My hometown is just a few miles down Highway 4, Benton County, Mississippi. I was raised on a little cut off of Highway 4. My neighborhood was called a dead end. And that's where I came from. Rusk College, before I get into it, Rusk College is a very, very important to me and to my family. And it's the craziest thing, and I tell you that it's God working, because Dr. Taylor just told you she's new, and she just saw my article she just saw the article in the Daily Memphis News. But what she didn't know, before calling me and reaching out to me, what she didn't know is that my great-grandfather, Samuel Tyler Nero, was a teacher here at Rusk College, was a professor. He was a baseball coach. He had an office here. He was a recruiter, and he had an office here until he died in 1975. My grandmother, Geneva Reaves, was a professor here at Rusk College. She was the head of the student teacher program. My father, Henry Reaves Jr., graduated from Rusk College. As a little boy, the bus would come down to Ashland and it would bring us here to Rusk College for a program that had NYSP in the summertime. We would do NYSP and we would play sports. And I got into a fight with Steve Hodges right there. Right by, it was a foul. You know one of them situations, foul me again and see what happened. Well, we saw what happened. So I'm thankful for that. And I take this very, very seriously. And what I want to deliver to you today, as I was thinking of what I want to share with you, I think that this moment in time, this moment in history, I think it's only right that I want to share with you a message that I call Blueprint to Our Freedom. Now, I told you about all the fancy, teachers and professors and master's degree and people I had in my family, the multiple generations of people who had bachelor's degree in higher education. But what I didn't talk about, being raised on the dead end, is the other side of my family. And so, yes, I got family that's teachers, professors, and stuff like that. But on the dead end, when I grew up, it was in the middle of the crack epidemic. And so during that time, I had an entire family that all my cousins sold dope. That my grandmother had 8 children, several different fathers, sold moonshine, did whatever we had to do to survive and to live. And that is the part of me from the dead end. Now, one thing that I realized when I married my beautiful wife, Neva, in the white dress, the baddest woman in here, y'all. Now, one of the things that I realized when I met my wife, Neva, she was from Illinois, and we met in California. And the crazy thing about one of the black experience that I found out is that you can go anywhere in the country and you can find black people, and a lot of their stories are similar. A lot of them have faced the same obstacles. A lot of them are going through the same things and have gone through the same things and have faced the same struggle. Now, as we move on, you're graduating today, and I look out in this crowd, I see it's gonna be teachers, it's doctors, it's CEOs, lawyers, scientists. What I want you to understand is that although you select your occupation, God selects your calling. Select your occupation, get your money, but I want you to understand that whatever your occupation is, be it doctor, president, that is your side hustle. Your calling, as a graduate of Rush College right now, is that you are freedom fighters. Each and every one of you sitting here are freedom fighters, and if you got Mississippi blood in you, you come from a long line of freedom fighters. Now, growing up on the dead end, pinto beans, cornbread, powdered milk, powdered eggs, y'all know the deal. It took a long time for me to realize that we weren't free as a people. I didn't realize this until I got everything that I thought I wanted. I got everything that I thought I needed. I got to travel the world. I got to see David in Florence, Italy. I got to go to Budapest, Hungary. I got to hear the opera in Vienna in Austria, Dubai, all these places just to come back and realize that as a people, we are not done yet and we are not free yet. I said I'm gonna give y'all the blueprint to our freedom. What I did not say is I'm gonna give you the roadmap or directions to our freedom. I ain't say I'm gonna give you the roadmap because a roadmap insists that it's a place that's already there and all you gotta do is just go there. A blueprint is something that you're gonna have to build and something that you're gonna have to make. So what I wanna talk to you about is the blueprint, but prior to even talking about the blueprint, there's a few things that you must understand. The first thing is you have to realize and wake up, because this is the thing, I didn't wake up, y'all, till I was 36. So y'all ahead of me. If y'all do, I didn't wake up, I'm about 36, 37. Now I need y'all to wake up and I need you to see where we are. And I want to just give you, you know they say men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. I want to go ahead and give you, this is a joint summary on the economic status of Black America, and it was prepared by Congress. It was prepared by a joint committee on Congress, so Democrats, Republicans. So these are facts. The unemployment rate for blacks right now, twice that of whites. The average typical black household at this time earns 59 cents on the dollar between what a black and white annual household incomes. Black Americans are over twice as likely to live in poverty in America. Black children are 3 times as likely to live in poverty. The median wealth of black families is less than 1/10 than that of white families. Less than half of black families own their homes, compared to over 3/4 of white families. If we look at our Fortune 500 companies, although we're possibly 12, 13% of the country, less than 1% of the CEOs for Fortune 500 companies. Now, these are key, facts that you can look at and you can see, and you can't argue with it either way. Like, the numbers are the numbers, that's where it is. But I argue that some of the more damaging and more pervasive things that we have going on is that there's a movie, it's called The Matrix. It might be before your time. And in that movie, Keanu Reaves is an actor in it, but in that movie, it's about the human race, and the human race is being used as batteries, basically, for some alien life forms. In order for them to use those people, to exploit those people, they have to keep them asleep. And they have something that's called the Matrix, which is a program that keeps them from knowing what is going on. Well, I say that right now, it's almost as if Black America is in the Matrix, because there are things that we see every single day and we don't think nothing else about it. Like, it's just normal. So I live in a place called Black Haven, and it's in Memphis, it's 99% black, but guess what? Black people don't own the gas stations. Black people don't own the businesses. Black people don't own the properties. Black people don't work for other black people. There are things that are unique to the race. They're unique to the black race that's not true with everybody else. And we just don't see it, we don't know it. I'm asking you because you are the most educated, you're some of the most educated, you're the ones out of your families that made it. Like, you're the ones that's like, man, that boy right there, like a junior boy, he's smart, he's gonna go to college. You're the ones that made it. You're the ones that people are looking up to. And as a freedom fighter, part of your responsibility is going to be to try to wake up your people, to let them know that, hey, something is wrong. And I want to let you know right now, the second part before we go is, the issue is and always will be for African Americans, it's economics. Don't waste your time with racism. We don't need to be worried about if someone is racist or not. If some little boy in Kentucky's in the dorm room want to wear blackface, or if somebody wants to have a rebel flag, who cares about that? What we want to care about is our ability to support ourselves and to support our family, and do we have our piece of the pie? So look at the economics. What economics and what money will do, what that wealth gap will do, you can talk to someone and say that something is racist. Someone will have blackface paint on, a Klan suit, a rebel flag, and a Nazi swastika, and you'll say that's racist. And they'll be like, this ain't racist. This is whatever it is. You can argue about racism because it's not finite. You cannot argue about economics. And at the end of the day, since we cannot argue about economics, people are going to have to come to one conclusion. The economics difference is in black and white. You cannot argue that. You cannot argue about that. Now it comes down to one question that I want people to answer. I want a question I want people to answer, because they will support you, because you'll get supported on a George Floyd rally, but if you talk about reparations, you're going too far. So now, what I want to ask is this: the disparity is real. There's really only two options. Either this disparity exists because of systematic racism and something that was done to your people over a large amount of time that creates that black people are 6 times more likely to be incarcerated, that it's something like that happened, or the other option is that blacks are just inferior. There's only 2 options. Something happened to us, or white supremacy is real. That's it. There's no 2 ways around it. It's no 2 ways around it. And if you believe that it's something that the government did, that it's something that this country did to us, one thing I need you to realize is that black people did not put themselves in this situation. It took lots of time. It took strategy, planning, plotting, organizing. It was multifaceted. It was city level. It was state level. It was federal level. That's what happened to get us into this position. And so the only way that we will remove ourselves from the position is if we put an equal amount of energy and an equal amount of time into the strategy, into the plotting, into creating a multifaceted way to get us out of this. And in closing, I give you the absolute key that you're going to need. One key that you're going to need is going to be a radical unity amongst ourselves. That's going to have to happen, because I'm going to tell you something that if you don't know by now, that you should know. Ain't nobody going to do it for you. Ain't nobody going to do it for you. So y'all out here in this audience, 19, 20, thinking about what you finna do after this and what is this man talking about, I'm telling you right now, y'all the one that's gonna have to do it. We old. Y'all gonna have to do it. Now when we talk about this radical unity, what I'm saying is, this is something that has been said throughout the years. It's something that Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, all of them will agree. Because once you have radical unity, when you live in a place that's a democracy, you have the ability to weaponize your democracy. You have an ability to control your $1.5 trillion spending power, which is a higher GDP than out of the 195 countries in the world, black Americans. Their GDP, they would be ranked number 13 if they were a country. 1.5 trillion. Higher spending power than Australia, Spain, and Mexico. That's where you are. When you start having unity, you start being able to look at things like this. Economic and political power. That's what you're looking for. Economic and political power. The danger that black people have, the opposite of that radical unity is a spirit of individualism. So, hey, I made it from the dead end. Man, I'm good. Like, I done had nothing. Now I'm a millionaire. So now I'm good, right? So I don't have to worry about my people no more. I don't have to worry about them folks on the dead end. I don't have to worry about the people in the hood. I done made it. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Is that what people think? All right. Well, okay, those who done made it and those who good, and you spending $20,000 and $15,000 a year sending your kids to private school, well, where they gonna work? Where are they gonna work? Who are they gonna have to get a job from? Where are they gonna have to apply? We're all completely linked together. As a people, Martin Luther King Jr. said, we must all learn to live together as brothers or we will perish together as fools. We are tied together in the single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. And whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. For some strange reason, I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. This is the way God's universe is made. This is the way it is structured. And I close just with this story. One of my favorite artists, Nipsey Hussle. He has a clothing line. It's called a Marathon Clothing. One reason why he named it Marathon is because he was about, his life, what he lived, what he died for, was about closing the economic gap. Because he realized that racism, absent power, is nothing. Racism, absent power, if there's not this large gap and you don't need people, is nothing. I got money. You think I care about somebody in a pickup truck who think I'm a nigger? I don't care, because I don't need them. So when we talk about that marathon clothing, what I would take it a step further, and I would say that this race for African Americans to the freedom land, to the promised land, is not a marathon. It's not merely a marathon. I say it's a relay. And in a relay, you run as far and as hard as you can run, and then somebody take that baton and they keep running and they finish that race for you. Now, in the story about the race, I want to say there was the first leg of the race. It was ran by people like Harriet Tubman, by people like Frederick Douglass. Their part of the race, they just had to show that, hey, we're human, like we should be free, okay? That's Harriet Tubman. Where they also are trying to show that, hey, we are citizens. That's a leg of the race, just approving and establishing that we should be free, we should be citizens. The second leg of the race was ran by people like Fannie Lou Hamer, Martin Luther King Jr., and they were saying, all right, we understand we're free, we're citizens, but we should have civil rights. That race was ran. Then the next lap that was ran by people like President Barack Obama. It was an entire generation that kicked the door down for individual accomplishments. It's a generation that showed that a black person can do or be anything. And now the story that hasn't happened yet, that I see, y'all might not see it, but I see it, I am told, is that there was a group of special people who came through adversity. They did not let adversity put them down or get them down. They lived through a pandemic. Even though they were in a pandemic, they still managed to go to school. They still managed to do their homework. They still managed to do everything they had to do in order to graduate and accomplish their goal when they had every excuse in the world. And they still did it. This group of people realized that this country practiced something called federalism, meaning each of the states is a nation within its own. And these people figured out that if I can own or run the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch of a state, black people can be free. They'll never be free fully on a federal level because the numbers just don't add up, but they can be free from a state. And what this is, so it's not twisted, this is not a separatist message. It's not a message of separate yourselves. This is a message of patriotism. This is a message of there's going to take a special type of people that are going to have to fulfill the American dream and do what they said that they were supposed to do. And if you could just reach under your seat, please. Grab that baton. Now we all know, y'all, where do they put the strongest runners? In the back, the anchor. Well, I'm gonna ask y'all, will you be my champion? Will you take us home? Will you finish the race? Will you free the land? Free the land.